they were very proud people. Uncle Bill could not speak very good English, and he was an uneducated laborer all of his life. But he used to tell us, as long as I can remember who you are here in Exude. Don't do anything that would shame our name.
People still, Dad. Without all seven of you, life wouldn't have been the same.
And Grammy, every one of us. Grammy, every one of us says
that would be
he married Mom.
Myself a year.
Well, wait.
Grandmother, my great-grandmother, hanging up laundry in the backyard when I was about 2 years old, before we moved to Parkside, and she was 101 or 102 at that time. Yeah, she looked like she was 50. Spry as could be, carrying the laundry basket out there, and I was Garrett's age, tipping over the basket, and she'd pick me up and send me off in a different direction, and I'd come back and knock all the clothespins all over the ground. Family was a big thing, John. And you took the good and the bad. Not everybody survived in the old days. Infectious disease.
He wanted to be, married.
Mom said she wants those.
I'm going in the jug with my
She said she wants those 2 birthday cards, and she said, "Oh, that's what started it. You need to lay these things on top of our jugs when we go."
My jug.
And I said, "Well, I'll put them on top of the urn, but I'm not putting them on top of your jug." It's all taken care of.
She does not want to be in that big monumental thing.
Claustrophobia, and I don't want to lay in that thing where you...
You're not going to be aware of it, believe me.
All right.
Let's talk about genealogy instead.
But the best Christmas of my life was when I was 10 years old. We all got a Philco table model radio.
The
A
Philco.
little white one.
I've heard about
It had a little glowing dial on it. I loved that radio.
You each got one?
Did it have AM and FM or just
Well, there
FM?
was no FM at that. That was.
It was just a radio.
I was 10. It was 1946.
The Shadow and all those programs.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have one too?
Yeah, we listened to all of them. Everybody listened.
And when you were
all you did was
when you were
listen to those
sick and you got
serials.
You have it in your
from
kitchen?
Every
school,
Sunday.
you could listen to all the daytime radio serials.
On the radio.
Portia Faces Life, and Our Gal Sunday, a little girl from the mining town of Silver Creek, Colorado.
I'm telling you, I would love to hear these stories.
Sir Henry Brinthorpe, one of England's richest and titled lords.
That's nice and clean at least.
Remember about growing up at Parkside Drive with those other kids. Actually, when you were a kid, what do you remember about Grandpa? That's what we need to start recording.
Grandpa was always there for breakfast and dinner every day.
Knock them right out.
He would have evening office hours and sometimes at evening operations. He was there for breakfast and supper every day.
Pass it on over here, Jim.
We can
Father, you don't want rock, Johnny.
But he used to stress the proper application. Some people had to study like crazy and others didn't.
Now it's some more rock. Mike.
Okay, wait, we're going back to genealogy. How did you get to high school, either of you?
I walked up to the Fenton Road and rode the public city bus.
You rode the city bus to school?
Garrett, don't
Did you have to pay for it?
I got off on Saginaw Street.
Dirty.
No. And walked 2 blocks.
Did you have to
With
pay?
who? Who did you do this with?
Garrett.
No.
Else went to Carmonade.
No. Why didn't you go?
She went to St. Matt.
Oh, St. Matt.
Yeah.
So he goes, so
I rode the public
Garrett,
bus.
No, we used
My house
to
was
get
3 blocks from Fenton Road.
Well, where was Uncle Jim? How much older?
He
Garrett.
was going to St. Mike's and he
Don't
had
lick
a
Mr.
car.
Hankey.
He took the car and drove to St. Michael's.
Stop.
He rode the bus till he was there
And then he drove.
to St. Michael's.
And Dad, how did you get there?
Mother drove him in the
Grandma
Cadillac Eldorado.
Oh.
No, they didn't have Eldorado.
Oh, the shishi boy.
They didn't
The
have
shishi
Eldorados then.
Okay,
Well, what did
Andre.
they have? It was the big
Yeah.
The Cadillac Sedan DeVille.
Oh,
Oh, wow. That's the Dandeville.
me.
All right. On your way up to Parkside Drive.
Drive.
Like
And I rode the bus from Ronald Street,
Like Uncle-
gravel road.
Like Uncle Al always said, we fought our way up from Parkside Drive to where we are today.
Yeah. Well, I got the ground.
What was the name of the neighborhood kid that you ran around with over there?
There weren't any.
But those kids all were.
weren't any.
Grammy used to have
The Germstead kids, Glenn and Bob Germstead, lived one street over, and that was until we were probably 15 or something.
Jimmy, do you remember the
Golf, they didn't do anything.
the crow under the bridge at Grandma Springs?
Oh, yeah. We used to play Billy Goat's Gruff.
Every time we went there, that's
Every
what we
single
would play.
time at Grandma Springs.
What was the name of the girl that used to beat Greg up when they lived in Brown Deer Park?
That was
Joy, what's her?
That was 330 South
Matt, can I have one of
16th
those?
Street. We were in medical school.
Joy Lieutenant?
Yeah.
Would she really beat him up?
We had a
She
Cape,
had her way with
She
them.
was like Helga from that football-headed Arnold show.
we had a Cape Cod house there with a white picket fence and 4 o'clock roses in the front yard. In the
Really
front.
it was $16,000.
No,
In Brown Deer Park?
$16,000.
32.
we bought it for 13 and we sold it for 7.
Actually, that girl looked like Lisa Lou.
I'm sorry, Grammy.
Bought it for
Saturday
13
Night
and made $4
God.
when we got out there in 4 years. Pretty good.
That is good. I'd take
There were probably 10 of us out of the class
Would you jam
of
a little bit?
110 that were
Like an
married.
inch? That's good.
because when you were in medical school, how many kids did you have already?
Garrett, can I have one?
We started out
Here, go give Nancy a
Greg
chip.
and Steve freshman year.
Garrett.
Sophomore
go get-
year, Laura.
Ah,
Senior year, Garrett.
Garrett. Out. Go give Nancy a chip. Out.
Senior year of med school?
Just before we moved back to England.
You wanted to know
And then Johnny moved back.
of
I remember boy, oh boy,
of depression.
coming in
down.
for
Right here with your chip.
There's several things down there.
Oil boy. Jim?
Johnny.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He had total body staff. 2 days after he was born, they said, "You're out of here, Mrs."
See, honey, that isn't the way it worked. The staff was in the nursery when I went into labor, and they said, "You can deliver here, but you're going to want to leave. We've got a full-blown staff, and we don't want your baby to get a go home 8 hours after delivery." So I did, and I still got the staff.
And for about
Thought we were safe.
4 months, the little fellow would wait till I got home every afternoon and
The little fella.
almost every single
Well, listen,
afternoon.
he couldn't have a diaper. They said you can't put a diaper on him because he's not.
The same way when he came to Ellis Island? Because I went to that website and put his name in and nothing came back.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of that. I don't think it was.
MAKSUD.
That's how Jill's was spelled.
It might have even been EID, John. There were some Eid families.
How would it be?
EID from Fall River, Massachusetts.
MAKSEID?
No, it was either MAKS.
Ide is EYD.
I think the Maksud came from somebody's first name or middle name.
They were at Carol's.
Try SUD like Jill's. There was like
Their
total.
surname could have been EID. Eid.
Oh, their actual last name?
Yeah.
How couldn't it be EYDE like those Lebanese?
Well, it wasn't,
people
because
in
it wasn't.
Lansing?
The ones I knew from Fall River, Massachusetts, it was EID.
Okay.
A lot of these people that came in, their
Have you
names
gone-
got
have you-
bud.
Maybe I'll put the Hajj Deuce Cam in.
What was the name of the little mountain town they still get from?
I still get emails from my friend Monahan. That's how he sometimes sends
You
them
know
to the
that,
Hajj.
John? Mountain town that came from Lebanon, the name of it?
Yeah, Thudeen. Thudeen. Thudeen.
That's the name of the town he was born in?
Yeah.
Thudean?
Thudeen. And there was always a BEIT in front of that, which meant home, right?
I'm gonna go rescue Carolyn.
Have you been there?
We almost went in 67 or 68. Uncle Al and Grandpa and I,
Almost got blown
the 6-day war.
Thing, it's not just weekends or special
It
holidays.
was weekends at our place, Steve. That was our whole social life, was Uncle Louie and his family, and
And
sometimes
they get these plastic chairs and set them in the front yard in a little circle when the weather's like this.
they make shish kebabs and tabbouleh, and
Yeah, they have 2 different grills going and then smoke their meats. That's just what they do. They come down and ask me, can they pick some grape leaves? And
I told him there's no one that cooks like Grandma used to cook, you know. So I said I come in here, and he said, you come in anytime.
Yeah, when's the last time you had a kusa?
hey, Grandma, you and Gregory used to tell Grandma that she should open a restaurant because she cooks so good, and that made her feel so good. She'd whip up another meal and stuff your faces. She just loved to feed you kids.
Did Grandma have any brothers or sisters that came with her?
My aunt got married again, and his second wife and Grandpa Rassick lived with us. Both of them lived with us for about 20 years. And the older they got, the more kind of cranky they got. And Grandma Rassick she'd make pita bread, homemade pita bread, and she'd cook a lot all day long. And Grandpa Rassick would walk in when she was half through making something, and the salt would be in a big quart jar, and he'd pick up a handful and throw it in the kidney or the salad or something, and she'd yell at him and wave a spoon at him and kick him out of the... And they were kind of like the Bickersons. They were always just really, you know...
Like the Costanzas?
Yeah, and he died... Well, kind of, but he died when he was...
The Lebanese Costanzas?
And she died 2 weeks later.
Oh.
She was maybe 10 or 15 years younger than him, and I don't think she grieved so much after he died. She died 2 weeks later. There was nothing wrong with her. She didn't have heart disease, and she didn't have kidney disease, and she didn't have a stroke. She just went to sleep one night and didn't wake up.
Little bits of this at a time.
It's gonna be those neighbor people sneaking their way in their boat.
I wish we would have done this with Grandpa before he died to tell us about his...
I do too, John. I tried a couple of years ago to record some of this stuff on the computer. And I've got this rudimentary program, genealogy program, that I can only go back as far as
That's what I had.
That white
In high school.
Skylark with the blue interior.
And mud flaps.
Yeah.
Grandma never had a happy day after Grandpa died.
No.
She lived 4 years longer, and we'd tell her that she had every creature comfort anybody could want. She said, I have everything but your father. That's all I want. She was a classic old country wife. The last one to see Grandpa when he died, and the last one to see Grandma, I ran her code in the emergency she didn't want to be anywhere but where he was. Pretty much until those last 2 years, we used to go hunting at that place in Metamora. They have an old dog that couldn't walk very fast. Couldn't walk very fast. I think they used to put lead sinkers on the birds that they put out. It would take 5 minutes to get off the ground, Steve. He could have almost hit him over the head with a gun to knock him out of the air. But Grandpa, God, he was 80 years old and still shoot the things and happy as could be.
The Nick Meister people.
No, who's that?
I'm telling you, you keep begging for a weekend, and I'm...
Steve? Steve? What's the chemistry story?
Biochemistry, my sophomore year.
Mike, you're going to be wanting the new babies, but you're going to want it.
Steve's a year old.
Yeah, you will.
3 years old.
I know you. I saw you with him when he was
Laura
little.
is just born.
Love those new babies.
I know. You're going to be like, can I keep this one? I'll be like, no, take this one.
He's the one that talks. And walks.
I looked over your record. You're married and have 3 kids. Not doing very well in biochemistry. If you ever consider
He's my bud.
You're gonna be my bud.
Anybody who walks up to you and calls you mama.
What year was it? Was it your first year of med school?
Come up here and lay with me, honey.
Super tired.
What did you do to
Taking
climb
Mama's
out of the
pillow?
hole?
Bring it up here.
Of course.
Garrett.
It wasn't an A plus or anything, but I passed. Once,
Bring it up.
at that time, once the first 2
Want a
years
hand?
were all the Brooklyn
And I've been eyeing them.
all the real hands-on learning.
Come on.
When I got to those 2 years,
Mike.
4 plus. No. I did great once I got to deal with real people. But chemistry was always. I was closer to Traverse City.
Halfway between the equator and the North Pole.
No, she's the tattoo for 45 year old. She said, we get so tired of waiting for it to get dark, we just stay
It really doesn't get dark until like 10:30.
right. He did.
These days are the longest days ever.
They are.
To go to sleep.
It feels weird going to bed at 10 because it's not even dark yet.
the days, my friend, I thought they'd never end.
Would that be under the category of obscure songs?
Because at home
I
at
think it's
9:15 it's dark.
And then,
Well, wait, they used to have a, what you call it, that place?
Wilco.
No,
Right?
you had a, what? Ceramic
Play golf.
music thing.
Oh, yeah.
9:30 song.
Yeah. Almost 20. But Aunt Sally says to Dad yesterday, so finally we just say, well, let's just go to bed. And Dad goes, you old devil. She goes, oh yeah, John, that's right. We're like, oh, what's now? We're supposed to get dark. Let's just go. Jim hooks up his oxygen and into the bedroom we go.
Abraham never came over from,
Abraham did come over. He was
so 3 sons came over.
3 sons came over, and Grandpa's mother
You can stick them in the phone.
and a younger brother Peter and a younger sister stayed back in Lebanon, and they were going to come over at a later date. But they, in the year that Grandpa and Uncle Louie came over here, the plague swept through the Mideast, and his mother and his younger brother and sister died a year before.
And they went under
So the mom and, how old were the kids that were left behind?
Grandpa was 12 and Uncle Louie was 10, and these were younger siblings, and I'm not sure. They had to be younger than 8, 6.
Younger than 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. Molly, answer the question. What
that Leo his son?
Yeah, Leo and Tommy and that
Or is our Louis' son?
Yeah.
And he ends the eulogy talking about his dad. He said for the first time, he could tell his mom about this great country, America.
Oh my God. Oh, his mom died. Oh,
And
yeah.
he never saw her again until he died.
Oh, that's right.
Watch his head, hon.
And sending them in the Middle
It took
East.
3 weeks to get here. They couldn't speak the language.
Molly, you could row it.
So they came with their dad then?
No, they came with their uncles. They came with some uncles and aunts, the Shakers. They came with some aunts and uncles. They couldn't speak English.
Through the physical part,
And so
and if a kid had any kind of a communicable anything, they'd isolate them in the hospital, and the parents were allowed to see them. What was it?
2 hours a week.
2 hours a week or so, because they were in
Isolation.
quarantine. Little kid, babies and 2-year-olds.
Somebody this age.
Yeah, they dumped them in there, and you
2 hours a
couldn't
week.
go in with them. That's how it worked.
I
And a
would
lot
never
of
go
people
to
got
Ellis
sent
Island.
back.
yeah, if they
Ellis
got,
Island,
if they got
one of the most
sick,
emotional
they were
places
really
I've ever
sick.
been to in
They
my
Medical,
life.
after all that riding over, if you didn't pass the physical, you went out the back door. They had a step that went right back to, back on the boat.
Yeah, you wanted to stay away from the middle stairwell.
The left side went to the train, the right side went to the boat. In the middle, you went back to wherever you came from.
Yeah, so you couldn't pass the physical.
I can speak English, Arabic, and Mexican. How many languages can you speak? And Uncle Louis was always kind of a slightly built guy. And if he ever caught anybody picking on Uncle Louis, Uncle Bill would step in and tell him, if you
He won't go, I'm telling you.
brother, one more time, I'll break your back.
Yeah, let's go find
And then he probably was.
Here, I'll take him. You sit down here. Seriously. Yes,
There wasn't any more
Here.
thinking of Uncle Louis if Uncle Bill was
I will
around.
take him.
Son?
Yes, that was the story.
Yeah, he's good for you.
Leo's
Good for you, son.
Leo's
come home and drink a quart of whiskey.
Dad, you know what?
As soon as he walked in the door from the
today,
village.
Dad?
Isn't that true, John?
Yeah.
Did he drink a whole quart of
Well,
whiskey
at least a pint. Maybe not a quart, but at least a pint.
and had no idea what the kids were doing, the ones that went away? Somebody'd been gone. I guess it was Tom had been missing.
Leo said to his dad on his 16th birthday,
in Central Michigan, and
you know what today is, Dad?
Louis finally
Louis
noticed.
said, no. I said, it's my birthday. And he said, really? How old are you, Leo?
College.
I'm 16. He said, good for you, son.
All he did was work in the shop and drink his whiskey and go to bed.
Well, he put his brother through medical school.
Yeah, he saved dimes.
Well,
walked to work.
Grandpa never forgot that either.
Give Grandpa the dime that would have
He
cost
bought
$5
that little bitty house that
Paid for
Uncle Louis and
medical
his family lived in. It was right across the street from the office. And if he needed a car, he'd buy him a car. If he needed the refrigerator broke, he'd buy him a refrigerator. And he never forgot what Louis did for him.
They were only about 14, weren't they? They went right through high
Well,
school.
they were 16 or 17 or something. But anyway, after 2 years, they had to make the declaration if they were going to stay in the seminary or do something else. So Grandpa wasn't sure. He made a novena and prayed very hard for 9 days and determined that he didn't want to be a priest. So he left, and some other priests helped him get an interview at Loyola in Chicago, and he ended up going to Loyola's medical school. But his friend Albert Meyer from St. Francis Seminary became the Archbishop of Milwaukee, and he was my recommendation that got me into medical school at Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So he'd be like Kenneth Pavish, or?
Well, yeah, yes. Pavish was the Archbishop, and then he became the Archbishop of Chicago, and then 2 or 3 years later became a cardinal. He used to come to our house on Parkside Drive, Jimmy.
He had hair like Don King.
No, no, that was Monsignor Abraham. I was Monsignor Abraham from Michigan City, Indiana. Cardinal Meyer was from Wisconsin. Monsignor Abraham did look like
Well, how did he
looked like
fit in?
Kramer. His hair grew straight.
Yeah.
He was just an old Lebaneser?
Yeah, he was the Lebanese patriarch.
Or why did many of these Lebanese go into the garbage disposal business?
when Grandpa was...
Take your
What a wonderful world. high above the chimney top, that's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't I? Way up once in a lullaby, the rainbow, blue dreams that you dream of, dreams real. Someday you wish upon a star where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney, over the rainbow, and the dreams that can die. Green and red roses too, and I think to myself, eyes of blue, and I see clouds of white and blue. What a wonderful, so pretty in the sky. I also want to face it.